Hi, Kate. Thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you for having me, Sarah.
All right, well, everybody knows that I'm Sarah Jacobs of Jacobs Burger, and today I have with me Kate Motz of Integrative Wellness Advisors, and we are going to be talking all about functional medicine and why it's important for you. Kate, you know that since the health and wellness industry is what we'll call my side hustle, I know a little bit about functional medicine and you know a little bit about why it's amazing and why everybody should be paying attention to it. But since I estimate that a lot of our watchers, listeners, community members don't quite know what that is. Tell us a little bit about what it is and what it is that you do with it.
Okay. I like to describe functional medicine as far as like the difference between that and conventional medicine. Um, Conventional medicine looks at symptoms. You know, you go to the doctor, you say that something's wrong, and the primary objective there is to diagnose and prescribe. So tell you what, disease you have or what issue you have, and then prescribe something to help you feel better. The difference between that and functional medicine is that for what I call the real reasons behind your health struggles, you can actually fix it at the root rather than, let's say, putting a band-aid on something. That's the big difference. And as far as my role today in functional medicine, I am a national board certified functional medicine coach. So I'm not a doctor, although I am trained in functional diagnostic lab testing, which I love. I guess we can talk more about that.
Yes, please.
But my role is to help my clients figure out what's wrong, what's causing it, and then help them design a sustainable strategy to fix it for good. And I think my biggest role is that as they're going through their process of making changes to their lifestyle or their diet or whatever it is, that I hold them accountable. That's my
So
biggest job.
you've been working in the the coaching, wellness, health industry since back as far as 2013, if I recall correctly.
Correct.
And it's been in the recent years that you've narrowed your focus to functional medicine and become board certified in it. Tell us why functional medicine as opposed to all the other areas of health and wellness, and what about this sets kind of like your soul on fire?
Okay. So as you mentioned, I did, start out in the coaching world, health coaching world in 2013. My initial certification was a very broad and general certification. A lot of dietary theories and a lot of different ways to go about helping people with various health issues. But I'm a very sciencey girl. I want to know all the details behind it. And so I continued to study on my own. I went through a program with an OBGYN and learned all about hormones and hormone balancing. And that's when I really started looking at the diagnostic testing, like I mentioned earlier. And then I had some experience with some food sensitivities and learned about food sensitivity testing, how you can actually prick your finger and discover what foods your body should and should not be having. So I started to dive into this part of functional medicine. You know, I shouldn't say by accident because everything happens for a reason, but I feel like I got into it as I was studying more. And then I really, that's how I found functional medicine and learned that there were an additional certification that I could get. And brand new, I think it was in 2018 or 19, the National Board of Medical Examiners developed a new board certification for people in my field. And, I'm a business owner. I want to set myself apart. And I decided that that was going to be my next step. So I studied for about a year and sat for that board certification. My favorite part about what I do is being able to test the blood and other bodily fluids, we'll call them. Tell people, I know.
That sounds a little. That sounds a little scary, but I'm gonna let you roll with that one.
Let's just talk about blood then. That's an easy one.
Stop there.
Right. But this way I can test and tell people exactly what's going on in their bodies. I mentioned food sensitivities, what foods they might be sensitive to, foods that are actually causing an immune response in the body. because when you're going through a diet program, maybe you're trying to lose weight or you're dealing with a health issue, and someone tells you that you need to change your eating, that's, you say to yourself, great, but what am I supposed to eat? Give me the details. And I learned with all these dietary theories how to help people, eat more greens and, cut out sugar and the basics, but I wanted to be able to give them more. I wanted to be able to give them more details. And so the food sensitivities testing allows me to tell them that based on their blood, they shouldn't be having, whatever it is. And by the way, people can be sensitive to like broccoli and strawberries. So when I learned this, it was very eye-opening. I think customizing programs for people is necessary. I think that it's absolutely where it's at today. So once I started to learn all of this and apply it to my business, I was having success before with people, but now it's just magnified because it's all based on DNA and what's right for the individual.
So if I'm hearing you correctly, I mean, people are assaulted every single day with ads, with different programs, with cable networks, with pharmaceuticals, with cure-alls. And I think, a lay person who isn't familiar with the health and wellness industry may hear functional medicine, may hear customized, may hear blood and fluids, may hear, testing and either freak out because it sounds a little bit overwhelming, or think that it sounds like everything else that they've heard from every infomercial that they've ever watched at 3 o'clock in the morning when they couldn't sleep. But what I'm gleaming from what you're saying to me is that this isn't a cure-all. This isn't a panacea of solutions. It is a unique, customized, individually tailored, results-driven program that sort of allows you to say, Sarah, based on your DNA or your chemistry, these are the foods not everybody, not your neighbor, not your friend, not even somebody else in your family, but you should be eating, you should be avoiding. This is what's going to help you as an individual feel better, both physically and mentally. Am I right about that?
That's right. And what I've found is it's just much more motivating for people to make changes when they have those specifics sitting in front of them based on a lab report. It leaves the questions out. It's right there. It's based on science. And so it's much easier for people to make changes that, let's face it, many people don't want to make changes. Changes are hard, especially if I tell you that you have to stop drinking coffee. I mean, heaven forbid. Or I have to tell people sometimes that they have, I know.
I don't, that doesn't work with me. Don't say the C word in vain. I know you've been trying to convert me for years.
I won't go on and say what else I tell people to stop eating and drinking. But, when I can show them that it's because of this, test result, the motivation becomes much greater and they see results. I mean, every single time.
So let's talk a little bit about this time period, right? Because we've been in quarantine, although we're coming out of quarantine, maybe.
Yeah, maybe, I don't know.
Maybe, that's a big question mark. But there's been sort of a divide, right, in the health and wellness industry. Some portions of the health and wellness industry, have seen a decline because gyms have been closed, recreational facilities have been closed. So if you're, a workout junkie, if you're a swimmer, if you're a tennis freak, it's been hard, right, to get that physical workout that you would normally get by going to the gym or, meeting a group of friends and doing your, boot camp in the park. But for other portions of the health and wellness industry, and I would think functional medicine, you must have seen a spike in the number of people seeking ways to help them make sure that they're not depressed, keep healthy in their bodies, find a solution that maybe they didn't know about because now they have tons of time to be home and research it. And I would assume as a coach, you can do this nationally because you've got Zoom just like everybody else, and you have the ability to reach people far outside your individual area. Is that fair?
Yes, absolutely. In fact, even before this whole thing happened, I would say that 90% of my clients I work with over Zoom or over the phone. But what was really interesting, because of course I went into a bit of a panic like everyone else. I have to stop seeing anybody that I was seeing in person. But I do a lot of lab testing with people. And so that was the other thing. And it's pretty incredible how you find resources when you really need them. So I have a whole team of mobile phlebotomists that come out to draw blood at people's homes or wherever they want to be, wherever they want to meet. Everything can be done through, the lab work through the mail, and again, my services over Zoom or the phone. So I don't know that I'm going to go back into the office anytime soon because I just don't I don't need to. But yeah, I've seen a shift, and I think the biggest thing is that this virus has kind of lit a fire under a lot of people that have been maybe pushing off dealing with health issues because life's busy and we have a million things to do. And I get it. I'm a single mom. I have 3 kids. I'm super busy. I'm usually the last one that I take care of. But I think people are realizing now more than ever that they need to have strong immune systems. They need to get those health issues that they've been pushing off under control because, we're hearing about how the people who have underlying issues are having a worse time during this crisis. So I've definitely had a lot of people reaching out saying, I've been meaning to call you for 6 months and now I'm so ready.
Well, you've also had with like before quarantine, but then kind of moving into quarantine, you've had a little extra time on your hands, even though you're a single mom of 3. I'm not going to say that that doesn't make you super busy, but and out of that has been born a passion project that you have been working on for quite some time, right?
Yes, I'm calling it my quarantine project.
and kudos to you because
Thank
you
you.
have talked for quite some time about writing a book, and you finally have. And not only did you rate it, but it's available for pre-order right now on Amazon, if I remember.
Right.
Yes. Can you tell people a little bit about the book and why it was so important for you to write this and why you're so excited about it being available and why they should read it, really?
Thank you. Yes. Very exciting. It still doesn't feel 100% real, but but I'm getting there. I know. And it's been something I've wanted to do for a really long time. And it just so happened that the timing worked. And I actually wrote the book really during quarantine. I wrote the book in about 9 weeks. And I have to give a lot of credit to my team that I was working with to help me because I didn't know anything about writing a book, but I did. And my reason for writing it was because I want to help everybody that I can. But my services aren't free. And so I have a hard time when people don't have the money to pay for a one-on-one practitioner. But the things that I help them do, I've learned over the years that they can really do them for themselves. And so my book is meant to teach people how to do for themselves what I would walk them through and help them with. And so, I've done all the research and dug up all the resources. And so it's really walking people step by step through all the functional diagnostic testing that we have direct to consumer labs. So I vetted the labs and I direct them exactly where to go and how to do it and how to use the results to bring, whatever it is that their health goal is to them.
Good thing I ordered that book then.
Yes, so it's available for pre-order right now on Amazon. It's called Revolutionary Weight Loss. The book is centered around teaching about how to overcome weight loss resistance. That's something that I work a lot with my clients. And it'll be available, officially launch on August 11th.
So I think that one of the things that we had talked about when you were, working your way through the idea of weight loss resistance was this concept of change, right? Change is hard. Change is something that we fight because we think that we need to hold on to the way that we either think things are or the way that things should be. And not that I'm going to share your dirty little secrets on the internet, but I'm sharing your dirty little secrets on the internet. This is this is a concept that you know really well because you yourself have gone through a divorce, and that was a change. And change is scary. Is that fair?
Absolutely.
So talk to me a little bit about how, when you're writing this book and you're writing it, although it's targeted towards a weight loss, the concept that you faced in divorce, and that you know that a lot of other people and the people that are watching us are definitely interested in that, because I mean, that's what we do all day, every day.
Right.
Talk about how the concepts are somewhat the same in terms of like coming to terms with the root cause of the problem and needing to overcome issues. Give me a little tantalizing sneak peek.
Okay. Well, I actually use some of my own personal stories in the book. I use a lot of stories in the book. Some of them are, I don't mention names, of course, but some of them are actual client stories. But the few of my own that kind of relate to what you're just talking about, yes, divorce is very stressful. And especially when you're trying to take care of your kids and everything else, and you want to prioritize them. And, again, another excuse to put yourself kind of on the back burner. But the stress piece is huge. And I don't care if your divorce is amicable or not, it's still stressful. When you're talking about splitting assets and you're talking about splitting time with your kid, like, you can have a smile on your face the whole time, but there's still stress involved. And so what I learned through this process was, when I allowed the stress to take over, because I wasn't, doing the things that I know I should be doing for myself, I started to develop some minor, thankfully, health issues. But stress can really start that cascade. In fact, I would say for 99% of the people that I work with, that's where it begins, is stress. And it doesn't have to be a divorce. It could be a new job. It could be COVID. It could be so many different things, but stress starts to cascade. And, I started to notice things like I wasn't sleeping very well. I started to notice things like random, breakouts, and I'm 45. So why is this happening to me? Those types of things. And it was great to be able to use my training to heal myself. I found out that I had developed a sensitivity to cheese. And I love cheese.
That's a shame. I'm sorry.
I know.
That breaks my heart for you.
But I got to tell you, I stopped eating the cheese, and my skin cleared up, and that was the end of that. And so rather than having to, see 3 doctors or dermatologists or whatever, and, all these things that my clients come to me about, I did the test, I figured out what was wrong, I addressed it, end of the story. And the other one was the sleep. I developed, I had a hard time falling asleep, and I also had a hard time staying asleep because I kept waking up in the middle of the night. Stress? And then I have a heart, because my mind, the mind goes, and,
or the coffee.
So,
we're not going to talk about the
coffee. Or a glass of wine or something. But, and there are a million different reasons why you can not be able to fall asleep or not be able to stay asleep. But again, using my training, I tested my nutrient levels, my vitamin mineral levels, and I learned that my melatonin levels were off, my magnesium levels were off, and my zinc was off. So, I was able to replace the nutrients that my body needed. And I actually I do a lot of journaling these days, trying to look for the positive. That's another good strategy for stress. But as a side note, today I was writing down about how I've been sleeping so well the last few weeks. And I know, like, don't say it out loud, which I just did. But, I don't want to jinx it, but yeah, it really makes a difference. These strategies make all the difference in the world and leaves the guessing out. So, it didn't cure the stress. The stress is still there sometimes.
Wow. I mean, sometimes divorce, the stress is going to be there no matter what, because there are 2 people that have issues that need to realign on certain things. And that's not always possible. But what I'm hearing is that there's a mitigation of the stress by taking care of your body, by taking care of your hormones, by taking care of your mind. And that aids in your ability to handle the things that you can't wave the magic wand and make disappear.
Right. Exactly. Exactly. And, learning, the other thing I do is just help teach people how to better manage the stress, because stress is not going anywhere. It's just part of life. So let's find better ways to manage it so it doesn't control us.
If you had to give like the secret tip that you tell every single client, that's the core of kind of what you do, what would you be telling me if we were finishing our first session and I said to you, like, Kate, what do I really need to know today in order to make the biggest change in my life?
Oh, that's a big one.
I always like to end with the zingers.
The first thing that comes to mind is that no matter how old you are and no matter what you're going through, no matter how stressful, your life is, but I want to go back and stress, no matter what your age is, you can feel fantastic every single day. So this concept, and, talking to the women for a minute, because I think women hear this more often. We have hormonal issues, whether it's PMS or, bloating or whatever it is, like where we're feeling a little anxious or depressed or, have some stomach upset, a lot of these issues are dismissed. And it's like, oh, well, you're over 40, so you're going to feel that way. Or, oh, you have 3 kids. Of course, you're going to feel that way. And that's baloney. You can feel fantastic every single day. So don't let anybody tell you different. You just have to get to the real reason or the root cause for these issues. But I promise you that you can fix them. You don't have to live with any of them. And so I know that's pretty broad, but like, that's what
I
I
love
say.
that. I think that's fair. And what I'm hearing is call you, read your book.
Yes. Right.
Feel magically better. Stress goes away. That's what I heard. I don't know if anybody else heard that, but that's what I heard.
Right. That's a magic wand.
I am so appreciative of your time, the way that you're spreading the good word about this amazing new area. Not really new, but amazingly new to the world, let's say, or to the consumer of medical science. And I am grateful. And I wanted to thank you for being here.
Thank you. This is great. I appreciate it.
All right, Kate, we'll talk soon.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.